Do you guys remember Erica's big Porsche moment? She steps outside, throws up her hands, and she's super hyped about her brand new ride. Yet, oddly enough, she doesn't mention it at all in this episode. Foreshadowing much? Yes, I is. She could have leaned into gratitude for this new chapter, but instead she veers into bitterness, and we will get into that much later. Cute moment though, the Cars Bow is serving Hallmark Channel Christmas movie, and honestly, I'd be proud too. Now, this episode kicks off with Kathy Hilton being, well, peak Kathy. She announces a girls' trip to Oceanside, complete with personalized luggage invites. Have you guys ever been to Oceanside? It's gorgeous, but super chilly. A perfect metaphor for this cast. Anyway, Kathy's quirky antics and pleated hat set the tone for her absurd yet endearing hostess vibes. Bonus points for her brand manager popping up like the stealth side character we've apparently missed all season or all seasons, because I've never seen this woman before. Have you? We saw a lot of her, though, in this episode. Garcelle steals a heartfelt moment when Kathy stops by her son Jade's modeling shoot. Now, talk about full circle parenting. Garcelle showing up to support her son on set gave me flashbacks to my own experiences in the entertainment industry. Now, kids in the limelight need strong advocates, and Garcelle nailed it. The girl is good. Kathy's over-the-top deliveries continue with stops at everyone's homes. Her sister Kyle's lukewarm reaction hinted a deeper tension brewing under her recent house remodel and relationship with her husband and relationship with Dorit. Mauricio pops up and things get a little awkward, I think, fast. Kyle and Mauricio's interaction felt like an emotional whiplash. She's all about the house upgrades, shades of gray, while he's out here discussing his new apartment and furniture. Kyle offers to buy him towels like he's a college kid. Cringe moment, and his smug, I have expensive sheets flex. When asked by a producer if she wants him back, Kyle's frozen response spoke volumes. She has no idea what she wants? Girl, what do you mean? What do you mean? All this talk? The group arrives in Oceanside, where Jennifer Tilly ups the glam factor with her $33,000 Louis Vuitton boat purse. At lunch, Dorit opens up to about the toll her separation from PK is taking on their family. She reveals that PK moved into an apartment without consulting with her, adding yet another layer of confusion to her already tumultuous life. Girl, the man is your ex. Why are you so shocked that he's making decisions without you? It is time to accept the new reality and focus on you and the kids. Speaking of exes, Jennifer Tilly shares her post-divorce glow-up, casually reminding everyone that her Simpsons royalties mean she's set for life, okay? Meanwhile, Erica's confessional pettiness about Garcelle's past relationships with A-listers like Eddie Murphy and Will Smith felt unnecessary. No boo. Kyle and Dorit's ongoing feud escalates as they accuse each other of betrayal. Kyle's grudge over BravoCon drama felt like a reach, while Dorit's claim that Kyle has frozen her out added fuel to the fire. The real issue, neither woman is really willing to admit they're both stuck in a toxic pattern of competition and resentment. Here are the couple of things that stood out to me. If you ask me, Dorit's struggle with authenticity stems from how she molds herself to fit the needs and expectations of people around her. With PK, their relationship began with her embodying the fun party girl persona, someone who loved going out and enjoying life as much as he did. Now, this worked perfectly for PK when they were dating, but after marriage and kids and a new job, honey, she traded the carefree lifestyle for motherhood responsibilities and acquired a more domestic role, especially with the show, right? PK, however, resisted this shift, later confessing that he missed the woman that he originally fell in love with. Instead of recognizing and embracing her growth, he frames her changes as a loss of identity rather than a natural progression. All humans evolve, right? So this dynamic really underscores how Dorit often molds herself to fit her partner's desires, only to face rejection when her evolution didn't align with their static expectations. No, for real. Now check it out. With Kyle, Dorit also played an equally submissive role. For much of their friendship, Dorit let Kyle take the lead, often playing small and avoiding conflict, even when Kyle disrespected her. Now, don't act like y'all don't remember that. From blindly allowing Kyle's opinions to supporting her, even when it didn't serve her own interests, Dorit consistently prioritized loyalty over her own voice. And Kyle's newfound friendship with Morgan disrupted their whole dynamic. Feeling replaced, Dorit began rewriting their friendship history, pointing out how Kyle didn't value or respect her as a friend. Girl, this isn't new. So while Dorit is justified in voicing her grievances, it's hard to overlook the fact that she was complicit in the very behavior she now criticizes. Now, for years, she's accepted Kyle's treatment, only speaking up when her position in Kyle's life felt threatened. Morgan. Now, Dorit's newfound assertiveness could be seen as growth. Sure, it helps her, but it's also tinged with opportunism. I'm sorry. She's finally finding her voice, yet her timing feels very strategic, seizing in on Kyle's vulnerability amidst her separation from her husband, okay, and all this public scrutiny around her personal life. Dorit has the right to express her frustrations. That's fine. But her previous silence and passive complicity weaken her stance with me. Her current efforts feel like she's claiming authenticity. It's more like a reaction to losing control in both of your relationships with both PK and Kyle. So my takeaway from this is that Dorit's journey is like a mix of valid grievances and long overdue accountability. While she's justified in standing up for herself, I think that's fine. She must also own her own choices. She's complicit too, whether it's suppressing her true self for PK or staying silent in her relationship with Kyle. She's contributed to her own struggles. And authenticity isn't just about speaking up when you're hurt. It's about consistently showing up as your full self, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient or unpopular. Until Dorit fully embraces that, her actions continue to feel performative rather than empowered to me. That's all I'm saying. I got a bone to pick with Miss Erica. So two stories stood out to me between Dorit, PK, and Kyle, and Erica and Garcelle. Erica, let's start here. Erica receiving a brand new Porsche should have been a moment of gratitude or celebration. That's how we started this whole episode off. Instead, she barely acknowledged it, moved on without as much as a mention of how it even came to be. Was it a gift, a purchase, like a lease? Who knows? She certainly wasn't about to share, right? But what stood out more to me than the car itself was Erica's apparent bitterness, which came into focus later in the episode. In a room full of luxury and wealth, Erica's energy seemed fixated on others, particularly fixated on others like Jennifer. Coveting thy neighbor's goods vibe was palpable, while other women flaunt their wealth on fixated on other people's stuff. Like, coveting thy neighbor's goods was so cringe for me. The women weren't flaunting their wealth. They were sharing their stuff. And Erica's digs in the commentary carried an air of resentment from me. Rather than cheering on even Garcelle's dating history, which included a roster of A-listers, which she asked about, rather than... And the whole question about who's dated A-listers to me just seemed really contrived. Another area where she showed Another area where she showed resentment, like for no reason. Rather than cheering on Garcelle's dating history, which included a roster like Eddie Murphy and Will Smith, she twisted it into a critique. Her confessional jab, if Garcelle dated all these men, why didn't she marry one of them? It was steeped in judgment, as if Garcelle's choices needed to meet some unspoken standard of success. It felt like Erica was projecting her own insecurities onto Garcelle. Coming from someone whose financial woes and marital issues played out in front of the entire world, the snark felt hella petty and hateful. Erica's bitterness towards Garcelle not only reflects her own struggles with relevance, but also highlights her inability to recognize and celebrate for other women's wins. I really think that Erica's unnecessary shade about Garcelle's dating life was foul. Garcelle was a sought-after star in her own right, and she had a kind of Hollywood dating history that most women would celebrate. Like, that's your homegirl. Why wouldn't you say yes? That was a reflection of her beauty and charm at the time. But Erica chose to frame it as like a failure, questioning like, why didn't Garcelle marry one of these amazing men that she dated? It's giving bitterness, not curiosity, to me. Not every relationship is meant to end in marriage, and Garcelle's choices clearly worked for her. Unlike Erica, who tethered herself to a man. Unlike Erica, who tethered herself. Okay. Here's the thing: not every relationship is meant to end in marriage. And Garcelle's choices clearly worked for her. Unlike Erica, who tethered herself to a man whose financial dealings became a public scandal, Garcelle made decisions that prioritized her happiness and her family. So Erica's digs, to me, feel like they're shade and more projection, revealing her own insecurities about her life post-divorce. And let's not overlook the audacity of Erica, someone who had once had the world at her feet, now acting like as if a woman's worth is tied to who she marries or the bag she carries. This isn't the Erica of old who commanded rooms with wit and flair. This is a woman grappling with her diminished status and lashing out at others who seem unbothered by their past choices. Garcelle, ever the class act, shrugged this all off. She didn't say anything about it, because why entertain the nonsense when you've already won? She winning. Girl, and it's not too late for you. I feel like most of the things that we watched in this episode could be cleared up with a trip to the therapist. A lot of these people's bitter commentary and inability to understand each other and the refusal to even look within is just daunting. This really honestly should not be the bulk of why we watch this show. Watching people who could very well invest in their own healing and understanding of self. You know what I mean? Like, of all the people that can afford a really great therapist to come in and just fix all this stuff, y'all are a trip. How are you guys not running to therapy right now? With that being said, I'm just going to go back to being a little YouTuber. Thanks for watching. Appreciate ya. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But first, I want to do a recap, and then I'm going to do a review. Ma'am? Sir? Before we go any further, if you like this video, please subscribe. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. Would love to see you again. I'm going to be doing this every single week. Okay, I've committed. If you like, before we go any further, if you'd like to see more of these videos, do two things for me. Hit the like and subscribe so I can see you again here next week. All right.